Good to be out. Can't believe I didn't ride for like almost an entire week. And then I see this guy, Moto Giant, and he's riding 19 degrees in, where is he at, Georgia? No, Alabama or something? Yeah, check out Moto Giant on YouTube. That guy's got a lot of subscribers, and I think he's really underrated. He's kind of like quirky and funny, and he knows a lot about bikes, and he's got like a very adventurous spirit. I don't like the RT that he's riding. I think he needs to upgrade that bike, get something cool like a Tenere 700 or something. But man, yeah, he's got like a really good channel, and he's very entertaining. Often I hear of like riders that have like 200,000 subscribers, 1 million. They're not as entertaining as this guy, Moto Giant, on the YouTubes. But the guy's a giant. He's like 6'5" or 6. You know, one of the good things about being average size like me is that I fit in every bike. Like, I don't get a bike and go like, oh man, I'm too small. No, I'm always just right. It's like I fit in everything. Gold wings, silver wings, KTM adventures. Yeah, I kind of like that. But that guy, Moto Giant, when he gets on a bike, he looks, I don't know, I would assume like he looks like a bear riding like a tricycle in some bikes. This ST1300, I think that's a good size bike for him. But he also has a Triumph Tiger. I don't know, he might be too big for that bike. I can see him on a Super Tenere. Oh shit. Man, that guy, he almost pulled right in front of me. Oh, that was, he actually went like, oh, I'm sorry. So, all is forgiven. And I think for me, my top 5 favorite are the V-Strom 650. The V-Strom 650 is one of my all-time favorites. The Super Tenere 1200, that's a really good bike. I really regret selling it. And man, the Super Tenere, it's like I've been trying to look for one. I definitely got rid of it too prematurely. I should have just kept that. One of the ultimate bikes. And then I asked Clint, what do you think about that? Because he's had one and he loved it, except he didn't like the rattling of the engine. You know, like Yamaha's got this weird rattling sometimes. It's very agricultural, and so that's not one of his top favorite, but it is on my list. And then I also think the XR650R from Honda, that's an incredible bike. I really like that. Oh yeah, my Triumph Speed Triple, that's super good bike. I had the 955 version. Love that bike. The way it handled, the way it sounded, the way it looked. What else? I think maybe the Honda RC51. But you know, I never owned one. I've always wanted one. There's so many good bikes, and that's a problem. You know, when riders, and you see this a lot on YouTube, they'll review like all the newest, greatest bikes, but I have a hard time getting rid of the old bikes. The old bikes to me are just as good as the new bikes, especially after you go after the Japanese reliable machines. I mean, those things are just as good as the new ones, if not better. Never had a Ducati, and I'm not sure I want one, because that's like a rich man thing. It's like, I haven't really met a lot of people that have ridden Ducatis very much. It's always like, oh, it's just a track bike or once in a while type of bike. To me, a good bike is something durable that you can ride every single day. It's like never the best of anything. And I kind of like that about bikes. The SD1300, it's not like the best of anything. It's like just a really good bike all around. Comfortable. Man, this thing, I could ride this for hundreds of miles all the time. See that? It's melting, but it's all icy. The area I live in, people use look at all that ice. They use the roadways as a trash can. It's so crazy. I'm like behind people at a red light, and they'll just throw their McDonald's right on the curb. I'm like, God, these people, who raised you? It looks better without the top case, the really frumpy top case. Man, but riding this bike is just, I can ride this bike for hours upon hours, and I just don't get tired. And yeah, this is a Stream windshield, really good. It's amazing. Like it really is an amazing bike. And when I think about this bike, it really is kind of like what a Goldwing, like a newer Goldwing is, because now the new Goldwing is kind of like a sporty version of this bike. You know, like this bike could have been, if they didn't make the SD1300 and then they just went, hey, this is the new Goldwing, I think people would go like, oh, okay, so we've got like a really nice sporty Goldwing. This thing will definitely do a lot better with than a new Goldwing in the twisties. It really is a very sporty bike. I think the only issue that you have on these bikes is that they're older. I mean, this thing is almost historic. Next year can be considered historic, but it doesn't look old. You know, it looks very contemporary from the way it looks, and I think that's the huge benefit. You know, I looked online and you can get these SD1300s for $2,000 to $3,000 for a higher mileage one, and then $4,000 for one of these, like, so $4,500 or so can get you this, and the amount of bang to the buck that you get on this is incredible. So you're talking about a 1300cc touring machine that's reliable. This is proven. Like, this is a engine that's proven, and it's not like the new stuff that comes out and you're like, oh, is this going to break down because it's the new year? This engine is one of those that you can just stack on miles. Very reliable. I mean, I've seen these things with 300,000 miles. Last year I met a guy that had 230,000 miles on one of these. So, and a bike like this, it's such a good deal. I can't figure out why more people are not riding these, because you have them on the marketplace all the time, and these things are selling for like $2,000, $3,000. And in comparison, let's say you get like a FZ09, you don't get as much bike for the money. And then you have an amazing shaft drive that doesn't have any issues, and it sounds pretty darn good. So you can get on something like this. It comes with bags already, and go cross country. I think maybe the big downside is that in the summertime, this bike, it's a fryer. It'll fry you. There's been modifications from people, and I think this one's got that, like some coverings here. The old 03 that I had, oh man, that was a tough bike to ride in the summer because it was just so hot, and you always had to constantly be speeding. And so, great deal, right? You can get an amazing deal on this. But also, one of the major downsides, of course, is the gas mileage. It's hard to get 40 miles to the gallon on this thing. You're probably going to average about 38, 39 if you're pretty gentle with it. It's a big bike, so it's like 700 pounds, 650 pounds or so. And I guess the FJR 1300, you get better gas mileage because of the inline 4. But I still think that this is a better bike. And the FJR, they have 17-inch front wheels, but look at that front wheel. It's big. It's an 18. So what that means is that it's more stable on the highway, and also because of the long wheelbase and the large tire, it just kind of seems to be a little bit more planted because, you know, you're not going to take these bikes at such speed that you need 17s. 17s are great for cornering, but on these bikes, they're just more stable having a larger tire. Now, major downside is that crazy weight of the tire. Like, you're going to get like 5,000 miles, if that. That's why a lot of people do dark side these. And I thought I'd keep this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it, just because, man, here's another downside. When you get on this bike, it's very hard to keep your speed down. And for example, the FJR, that is a faster bike, but I can keep that speed down more than this, because the FJR, the speed sensation is like, when you're going faster, you know, you're like approaching like take me to jail speeds. But on this, it's so smooth, the engine is so quiet, that it just feels like I'm going to get in trouble all the time. See, there's ice on the road there. So I think that might be the reason I'd sell this, because it's so hard to keep my speed down on it. And if I lived out on the West Coast, perhaps I'd be more inclined to keep it. But around here, I'm in the DC area, DC metro area, and there's like speed camera corridor. This is why, like, it's hard to like keep a bike like this and not get yourself arrested. I love to see Angry D on this bike. Hey Angry D, if you're watching, I will trade this bike for your Yamaha leaking. I'll trade this one for that one. I'll even take it to Texas. Well guys, that is the ride for today on the ST1300. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.